Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to answer a question that was asked by one of the members of the Boom Shikha's free INFJ community on Facebook. And the question was, what is the process of becoming authentic? Authenticity, if you know, is one of the primary quality or primary value of an INFJ. But in general, I think authenticity is something that's becoming extremely important in the world because people care about other people who are authentic. They want to be around people who are themselves, who are not putting on a mask, who are not wearing a mask or playing roles, or who are not being artificial in any way. I mean, all of us have certain masks on, obviously, but as close as you can get to the essence of who you are, to that authentic self of yours, the more other people will appreciate that in you. And you'll notice that, some days you'll go in or go out into the world and you're feeling very blah and you're putting on lots of masks and you're just like, I don't want to show my real face. And you'll notice that the connections you have with people are going to be not as great as if you went out on another day where you felt really good about yourself, you felt really great about the person that you are, and you felt very connected to your true self, and you were absolutely comfortable showing off that true self to the world. You'll notice that the connections you make are going to be deeper and more meaningful. The conversations you're going to have are going to be deeper as well, and you're going to notice that everyone's going to be able to connect with you easier, much, much easier. I notice that for myself, at least. I know that on those days when I feel like I'm closing myself off, when I'm cutting off my authentic self from the world, I just feel like I just don't want to be outside in the world because I don't mesh with people and they don't mesh with me. They can see, people can sense inauthenticity. I feel like that's one of the things that people don't really understand or realize is that even if you're the most oblivious person on the planet, you will still be able to sense when someone's being inauthentic. Really, you can. You might not say anything about it, obviously, because most people are being inauthentic some way, in some shape or form. But there's obviously levels of it, and some people you meet and you're like, oh my God, they're completely fake, completely artificial. You have no idea who they really truly are, and perhaps they themselves don't have any idea of who they are, unfortunately. And some people you'll meet and they're exactly what they're on the inside is on the outside, right? And you can tell, like, wow, okay, you're exactly who you are, like what you say you are, and that feels really good to be around that because you're not trying to think about the person, you're not trying to guess who they are, you're not trying to assume that they're this or that, there's no like games that you have to play, and there's no thinking process that's involved. What you get is what they are. That's it. You have nothing to think about, or nothing to guess, or nothing to ponder on. I noticed that the process of becoming authentic is actually about knowing yourself. It's kind of interesting to me how like every single video that I do, a lot of them I do, it always comes down to know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. I'm pretty much I feel like I'm like an automaton, just like repeating the same words over and over again. But it really is the truth of it that the more you learn about yourself, and that learning process itself is so long, because what happens is, when you are born as a baby, you are authentic. Like there are no inauthentic babies. I feel, I believe. I mean, every baby comes into the world pretty pristine and pure and not putting on masks at all. But as we get older, we start putting on little by little masks and masks and masks. By the time you're a teenager, it's literally all just mask, right? Because we have no idea who we are. And so we have to play all these games and roles to try to figure out who we are. So, we kind of enter a new group and we're like, all right, I'm going to play this role and I'm going to try and see if this is who I am. And we realize, no, I really don't like this. I don't think I am that. And then you try something else. And then you see, am I this? No, actually, I don't really like that either. And so it's like an experimental process where you try, and then you figure out, okay, yeah, this feels right. This is exactly who I am. If you have that space. Some teenagers, some children don't have that space to explore, to experiment, because they're told by their parents who they are. This is who you are, this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to live your life. No need to experiment, no need to learn about anything. You know what you are because I'm telling you this is what you are. And it's kind of interesting because I've had that happen to me when I was younger as well. And, sometimes my parents still try that. And I'm like, that can't happen anymore because I know who I am. Unfortunately, when you're a teenager, it happens very easily because you have no clue. You're like, I have no idea who I am. So if someone tells me this is what I am, all right, cool, I am that I am. Unfortunately, a lot of Asian cultures are like that. Unfortunately, a lot of cultures in general have become like that. American, I think, as well, sometimes is very conformist. Like, do what I tell you to do, live the life I will tell you to do. Society tells you this, your parents will tell you this, your teachers will tell you this, and then you kind of become more and more of a mask rather than who you are. Some people are able to break free and able to be themselves, and that's great, that's awesome. You're strong enough to do that, that's great. Some people are not. It takes them time. For me, I think it took me until I was 30, 31, 32 to be like, all right, yeah, this is who I am, actually. To figure that out, I think it took me that 20 years to be like, all right, this is exactly who I am. Awesome. I know who I am, right? So it took me a while. So don't be worried if it takes you a decade or two, it's fine. If it takes you longer than that, it's fine as well. This is the life. This is what life is about. It's to figure out who you really are. And so obviously, I do recommend experimenting a lot to figure out who you are. Like, really, I'm not saying obviously do very crazy, dangerous experiments, but I did do a lot of random things in my youth, in my 20s, to be like, all right, who am I really? What do I really like to do? What do I want to do? Do I want to do this or that or this? Who do I like? Who do I want to be? And so I tried many different things. I would go to a class of like salsa dancing to see, am I a dancer? Do I like that kind of dancing? And then I was like, no, I don't like strict, restricted dancing like ballroom dancing or salsa. I like free flow, modern dance. And so I figured that out. And then, what kind of music do I like? So I tried all the different musics, and I was like, oh, I like techno. I love techno. Or electronic. And so, like, little by little, you kind of experiment. You kind of run your own life experiments. You're doing it for yourself. You're trying to figure out who you are. And so some experiments are going to be extremely big, like quitting your job and roaming around the world for 10 months, like I did. Some are going to be smaller, like trying out a different pair of shoes, maybe, trying out a different yoga class, maybe, or trying out a different backpack. I don't know, I'm just making up stuff here, but literally, like, it's a huge range. And so every day or every other day or every week or every month, you're trying out something new. I tried Aikido and I really liked it. I didn't like Brazilian jiu-jitsu at all. Like, it was just way too aggressive for me. Aikido is very sensual and very soft, and I love that about it. So, you try different things, try all these, you have so many things to try. But eventually, you will figure it out, really. It's actually quite apparent when you're like, yeah, I know what, I don't need to experiment anymore because I really know who I am. Like, this is what I am. And even though everyone else is telling me this is not who I am, because that's what happened to you as well, people still try to tell me, that's not who you are. And I'm like, that is who I am. For example, people are always like, no, you're an extrovert. You're not an introvert. And I'm like, you know what? How can people be so sure that just because they watch a couple of my videos or, they kind of have hung out with me a couple of times that they know me better than I know myself? It's just craziness. But anyway, so that's the process of becoming authentic, is that little by little, the more you know yourself, the more you're able to be like, all right, this is who I am. This is not what I am. Doesn't mean that you won't still put on masks when you go outside in the world, right? Of course, that's not the point of it. The point is you yourself, within yourself, know who you are, right? And sometimes I will go into a group and I'll notice myself putting on mask. I'll be like, the mask is coming on. I can see it happening. Because I just don't want to show them my authentic self because I don't feel safe in that group. I don't think that they would accept me for who I am. And so I'm like, all right, I'm fine with putting on a mask, pretending for a couple hours and then leaving, or pretending for a few minutes and then leaving. But you will notice, as soon as you're putting on a mask, you'll start noticing that moment and you'll be aware of it. And you're like, I don't like this. And then you'll basically run away from the situation, right? So when I notice that happening to me particularly, I know that group is not good for me and I need to not spend that much time with them or as little time as possible or even like abandon that group completely. In general, I spend a lot of time by myself, so I don't have that issue because I can be as authentic as I want a majority of the time, which is nice. There are some moments when, family, friends will come over and I'll be like, all right, let's put on a mask, let's go in and play the role. And so that's okay, like I don't mind. As long as majority of the time I can be authentic and with myself, true to myself, I am all right with putting on masks the rest of the time. It's absolutely fine. 10% of the time, 15% of the time is not a big deal at all because I know what's going on. I'm aware of it. It's a conscious process rather than an unconscious one. So that's basically literally the process of becoming authentic. Very long, very slow, very tumultuous, chaotic, arduous, like just slow goings. And at a point, you can be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm making any progress. And I know from myself, I know the entire 20s that I was in, I was doing so many experiments and trying so many, trying. But it felt like my goal of becoming authentic or learning about myself was so far away. And all of a sudden, I turned 30 or 31 and it clicked. Or I think it was like at 28, it clicked. And I was like, oh, right, no, this is it. I think I made it. But even now, like I'm 37 now, and I still feel like I have moments where I'm like, oh, right, no, I don't actually like that. And so little by little, I'm still discovering parts to myself. And it's just fascinating because I feel like I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. Until I die, I'll be discovering parts of myself that I've probably pushed away or hidden or not spoken about or whatever it might be, right? There's so many reasons for that. I basically think that's it. Again, if you have questions about it, further questions, please comment below and I shall do a follow-up video because it is such a wide topic, right? It's so varied and there's so many aspects to it. So if something doesn't make sense, comment below and I shall do a follow-up. Again, thank you so much for listening, for being on my channel. I really appreciate your support and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.